Should I let my estranged, racist parents meet my mixed-race kids after they disowned me for marrying my former boss? I'm married to my former boss. My parents didn't take the marriage well and ignored me for 5 years, only to reach out after seeing a 5th anniversary Facebook post that mentioned our kids. Now I'm torn between letting them back in or ignoring them. My husband used to be my boss. About 9 years ago, I started working as his assistant. For 2.5 years, we ignored our mutual attraction until we finally gave in. We immediately went to HR, who reassigned me, and everything was strictly above board from the time we began dating. I got pregnant about a year later, and my husband and I decided to get married. While we'd only been dating for about 1.5 years, we knew each other well, loved each other, lived together, and there was a baby on the way. We anticipated potential issues, especially with my parents, but I had to leave the company due to problems with my new boss anyway. My parents, 62 Mel 57F, have always been overprotective, so I knew they wouldn't like me dating my boss. I hadn't told them initially, but I had to if I wanted them at my wedding. We decided to be mostly honest. We explained how it was strictly professional until it wasn't, how we went to HR as soon as it got personal, and how he had never taken advantage of me. We wanted them to understand that we were in love and getting married. However, we didn't mention the baby, as I felt it would overwhelm them. I was only about 4 months along, so my bump was easily hidden by a flowy dress. The wedding itself went smoothly, except for my mother pulling me aside before the ceremony to ask if I was sure about this, to which I assured her I was. My parents seemed to take it well initially. However, they never showed up at the reception. I called and got no response. My brother contacted them, and they said they were going home due to feeling tired and uncomfortable. After the wedding, I found that I was blocked on everything except email. I sent them a long letter, essentially saying that I'm an adult who made an adult choice and hoped they could respect that. 5 years later, I haven't heard from my parents since my wedding. My husband and I aren't big on social media, but I recently posted something for our 5th anniversary, mentioning our 2 kids and a 3rd on the way. Within a month, my parents left a voicemail saying they saw the post and, having had no idea they had grandchildren, now want to meet them. I haven't responded yet, and there have been a few follow-ups since then, asking why I haven't. I don't know what to do. My gut instinct is that 5 years is too long, and that their interest is about the kids, not about respecting my choices or relationship. However, I can't help but feel that I'm being unfair. My brother agrees, pointing out that I told them in my email that if they could learn to respect my choice and my marriage eventually, we could talk. Now, it feels like I'm retroactively applying a time limit. Edit. I can't find a way to work this in organically, but my husband is not white. I am, and so are my parents. I don't think this is a race thing or that my parents are racist. My husband doesn't think so either. We can't understand why they would want to meet our mixed-race children if they were racist. Still, this element is gnawing at me. Should I reach out to them? If I did, how would we go about rebuilding the relationship? Update. I asked to talk yesterday, and we were on Zoom within an hour. It was my parents, my husband, and me. They asked to see the kids, and I said they could see them eventually, depending on them earning our trust and convincing us they would be positive additions to the kids' lives. They asked to start by reading me a letter they claimed to have written on my wedding day. It said they were uncomfortable with me marrying my former boss, as they thought he took advantage of me. They left between the wedding and reception to avoid a scene, but wanted me to know they were here for me, despite their issues with him. They added they would have sent this to me the morning after my wedding, but then I sent my email about them needing to respect my choices, and they were so ashamed they couldn't bring themselves to send theirs. Seeing my anniversary post made them realize how much they've missed in 5 years, and they don't want to miss anymore. I had some questions, like what the big deal was with me marrying my former boss. They said it just wasn't what they had in mind for my wedding day and future spouse. I asked why they even came to the wedding if they didn't support the marriage, and my dad responded he wanted to walk his daughter down the aisle, as it was the only chance he'd get. The way it was phrased implied they intentionally only came to the wedding so he could give me away, and always planned to leave halfway. Because he said, "my daughter," and didn't talk to me directly, it was clear he was thinking about my older sister, who passed away. My husband caught that too, and said if they were talking about me, they should address me directly. He added that if they had planned to leave, they should have told us, as we wouldn't have invited them. The fact they waited 5 years to reach out was going to take more reasons than shame. As a father, he didn't understand how they could ignore their daughter for years, or only get back in touch when we had kids. My dad snapped that he wasn't going to take this from a cushy, a slur meaning dark-skinned. My mother immediately tried to run damage control, but I ended the call. They have since messaged me several times trying to explain that calling my husband a racial slur wasn't indicative of a racist attitude, and he wouldn't have said that in front of the kids, so they should still get to meet them. I've spent 5 years wondering how they were so offended by me marrying my boss that it earned no contact for half a decade. Turns out they're just racist. It's almost nice to find out. If it was just the boss thing, I would have sympathy for them, and we might even be able to reconcile. But with this, it's now now just a question of whether I'm going to knowingly expose my mixed-race children to a couple of racists, which I am obviously not going to do.